It's been a long time since a single year has thrown this many curveballs at the hunting ammo world. Some cartridges hit the shelves in 2025 with so much innovation you can practically smell the burnt powder just reading the spec sheet. We're talking about serious engineering leaps here. Cases built to handle pressures most rifles never dream of, bullets shaped to cheat the wind, and designs that make even lever guns and rimfires feel like they just got a second life. This isn't a list padded with marketing fluff. Every round we're about to dive into is a genuine step forward, something that could change the way you hunt, shoot, and maybe even think about your rifle or shotgun. So, let's get into the top next-level hunting rounds that have just been released in 2025 and see what makes them worth a spot in your ammo box. There's a new kid in the long-range hunting neighborhood, and it's not here to play nice. The 7mm Backcountry from Federal was introduced at SHOT Show 2025, and it's one of those rare cartridges that makes seasoned shooters pause mid-sentence. On paper, the headline is simple: a 7mm that pushes a 170-grain terminal ascent at roughly 3,000 feet per second from a 20-inch barrel. In practice, it's a whole new ballgame. The magic starts with the Peak alloy case. This isn't just brass with a fancy name. Peak alloy is engineered to handle a SAMI-approved maximum average pressure of 80,000 psi, which is about 30% higher than most hunting cartridges. Think of it like putting racing fuel into a high-compression engine. You're tapping performance most chambers never get to taste. That extra headroom means you can run impressive velocities without stretching barrel length into telephone pole territory. They built it to solve two common headaches: lugging around a long, heavy rifle and losing efficiency when you screw on a suppressor. The Backcountry's short-action case design burns its powder load efficiently in shorter barrels, which keeps weight down and handles quickly in the field. Add a can, and you're still not tripping over the muzzle in a tight brush. Compared to its big brothers like the 7mm PRC or 7mm Rem Mag, the Backcountry holds its own in trajectory and energy while shaving noticeable recoil. For hunters who've spent seasons behind magnums and secretly wished for something kinder on the shoulder, this is a welcome twist. In ballistic terms, you're looking at magnum-class performance in a more compact, forgiving package. Field reports are already trickling in. One Montana elk hunter ran a suppressed Backcountry through a custom lightweight bolt gun and dropped a bull at 412 yards. No drama, no second shot, just the solid thwack that tells you the bullet did exactly what it was built to do. That's where the combination of high BC bullet design, smart case engineering, and optimized velocity really shows. Some folks will say we don't need another 7mm. Maybe not. But if you want one that packs magnum punch without magnum baggage, the 7mm Backcountry isn't just another option. It's the one that makes you wonder why it didn't exist sooner. Some cartridges arrive with a whisper, others with a bang. The 338 ARC somehow manages to do both. Officially unveiled at SHOT Show 2025, this is Hornady's heavyweight addition to their advanced rifle cartridge family, and it's built to pull double duty in ways most rounds can't touch: supersonic, subsonic, suppressed, unsuppressed. It doesn't care. It's just good at all of it. The concept is straightforward but smart. Start with the ARC platform that's already proven for accuracy and efficiency, then scale it up to launch high BC 338 caliber bullets from an AR-15 or a light bolt action in supersonic form. You're looking at energy that stays lethal well past typical hunting ranges for medium and even large game. Switch to subsonic, and you've got heavy projectiles moving quietly enough to make suppressed shooting almost eerie. Subsonic stability is where this cartridge earns its next-level badge. Most heavy bullets go a little wobbly when you slow them down, like a dart losing spin halfway to the board. Hornady tuned the 338 ARC's case geometry, powder capacity, and twist rates to keep those big pills flying true even under the speed of sound. That means consistent accuracy whether you're taking a quiet 75-yard hog shot in thick timber or ringing steel at 500. Real-world chatter is already rolling in from early adopters. One hunter running a suppressed bolt gun used 300-grain subsonics on a sounder of feral hogs and dropped 3 before the rest of the group realized they were in trouble. No muzzle blast, no panicked scattering, just clean, controlled shooting in supersonic mode. Lighter 338 ARC loads reach out with flat trajectories and enough retained energy to ethically anchor an elk or black bear. It's not a magnum, but it doesn't need to be. It's a flexible, efficient hunting cartridge that also happens to make your rifle as quiet or as loud as the situation calls for. Some folks buy a cartridge for one specific job. The 338 ARC is the kind you end up using for everything, just because it does it all so well. That's not hype. That's good engineering wrapped in a lot of practical versatility. Lever actions have never really gone out of style, but let's be honest, they don't usually get the front page treatment when we talk about new hunting ammo. Remington clearly decided that needed to change. In 2025, they rolled out an expanded lineup of Core-Lokt tipped loads built specifically for lever gun classics, and it's breathing fresh life into rifles that some folks had left in the back of the safe. First, let's clear something up. This isn't a brand new cartridge family. It's a 2025 expansion of the polymer-tipped Core-Lokt line, but for lever gun shooters, the difference is big enough to feel brand new. The tip design boosts ballistic coefficient, meaning your 30-30, 35 Rem, 45-70, 444 Marlin, 32 Wind Special, or 360 Buckhammer will hold velocity better and shoot flatter than it ever did with flat-nosed soft points. That tip isn't just a cosmetic change. In a tubular magazine, flat noses have always been the safe, reliable choice, but they also act like tiny parachutes in flight. The polymer tip solves that drag problem while staying safe to stack nose to primer in the tube. The result? You can stretch your lever gun's practical range and still count on classic Core-Lokt terminal performance when the bullet meets the target. The 6 new loads cover a wide spread of game and geography. The 30-30 150 grain remains a whitetail staple. The 45-70 300 grain is pure thumper medicine for close quarters bear country. And the 360 Buckhammer 180 grain is the new straight-walled darling in states with restrictive hunting laws. Hunters who've tried the tipped loads are reporting better groups at 200 yards and noticeably more punch on target. One deer camp story making the rounds involves a guy with a beat-up Marlin 336 landing the longest shot of his life on a late-season buck. Clean drop, no tracking, big grin. If you've ever thought your lever gun was stuck in the ballistic past, 2025's Core-Lokt tipped expansion is your ticket to proving otherwise. It's still the same old reliable cowboy rifle in your hands, just tuned up to play in a modern hunting season. Rimfire cartridges don't usually get the spotlight in a next-level ammo discussion. Most of the time, they quietly hum along in the background, doing their job without much fuss. Then Winchester dropped the 21 Sharps at SHOT Show 2025, and suddenly small game hunters started paying real attention again. The 21 Sharps is a completely new rimfire design, and it starts by ditching the old bullet heel you find on 22 LR. That heel is a little step in the bullet's shank that fits into the case, and while it's been around forever, it limits how sleek you can make the projectile. By eliminating it, Winchester opened the door to sharper ogives, better ballistic coefficients, and more efficient flight. Translation: flatter shooting, better retained energy, and more accuracy potential. Factory numbers put the 21 Sharps between 1,300 and 1,750 feet per second depending on load. That puts it squarely ahead of high-velocity 22 LR, especially past 50 yards where the LR starts to arc like a rainbow. For hunters chasing squirrels, rabbits, or small varmints, that extra zip can mean cleaner kills and less meat damage. One of the smart touches is compatibility. You don't need to buy an entirely new rifle just to try it. Swap in a barrel chambered for 21 Sharps on your favorite 22 LR platform, and you're in business. That lowers the barrier to entry and makes it a tempting experiment for anyone who already has a rimfire they love. Field testers are already reporting that the 21 Sharp stays flatter out to 100 yards and drifts less in light wind. One guy described shooting cottontails on a breezy afternoon and being surprised when his holdoff was almost nothing compared to his usual 22 LR. Now, yes, there were whispers and leaked images floating around in late 2024, but the commercial release and full specs are 2025 reality. And that's when hunters got their hands on it and started talking about it in earnest. If you've been treating your rimfire like the quiet understudy in your gun safe, the 21 Sharps might just steal the show. It's not replacing the 22 LR anytime soon, but it's giving small game hunters something they haven't had in decades, a rimfire that genuinely feels like a leap forward. Berger has been the quiet powerhouse in the bullet world for a long time. If you've ever hand-loaded their projectiles, you know they make some of the most precise, high ballistic coefficient pills money can buy. But in 2025, they decided to stop just selling you bullets and started giving hunters a fully packaged solution. Enter Berger hunting ammunition in 30-06 Springfield and 300 WSM. loaded with their elite hunter bullets and paired with components chosen like they're building a bench rest load. This is not just slapping a good bullet into a case and calling it a day. Berger is using Lapua brass, some of the most consistent casework you can get, paired with Vitavori powder, tuned for optimal velocity spreads. It's the kind of recipe you'd expect from a meticulous handloader, only now you can buy it off the shelf. The 30-06 loads come in 168 and 185 grain elite hunters, while the 300 WSM offerings step up to 185 and a hefty 205 grain option. The bullet design uses a hybrid ogive, marrying the forgiving seating depth tolerance of a tangent profile with the sleek aerodynamics of a second. That means higher BC without finicky load development, plus reliable expansion at long range where impact velocities drop. Why does BC matter? Because wind is a liar, and it will ruin your day faster than bad coffee. At 500 yards, a bullet with a BC in the 650 range drifts noticeably less than 1 in the .500s, and that can be the difference between a perfect lung shot and a clean miss on a crosswind. The field results are already lining up with the lab numbers. One hunter in Alaska used the 300 WSM 205 grain load to take a bull moose at 420 yards. The bullet expanded cleanly, penetrated deep, and left the kind of wound channel you want when you're dealing with an animal that size. Another shooter mentioned stacking 3 rounds inside a playing card at 300 yards from a bone stock hunting rifle. No load tuning, just factory ammo. For hunters who appreciate precision but don't want to spend hours at the reloading bench, Berger's 2025 hunting ammo is about as close as it gets to buying custom performance in a factory box. It's the old saying in action: buy once, cry once. And when you see the groups and the terminal results, the only crying will be from whatever's on the other end of your crosshairs. 2025 has turned into a proving ground for what hunting ammo can be when companies push past good enough and start chasing real innovation. From high-pressure magnum performance in short actions to rimfires that finally break old molds. This year's releases aren't just new. They're worth making room for in your ammo stash. The real question is, which one fits your style, your rifle, and the way you hunt? If you're still running the same loads from a decade ago, maybe it's time to let your gun taste the future. Drop your pick in the comments, and let's compare notes.